Kia ora everyone, welcome to Christchurch. I'm on the 6th floor of the Civic Building in Christchurch. The Mayor is based here, the council chambers are downstairs, but possibly what's most important about this location is the fact that the Port Hills, Cashmere and so on are behind me here, and tonight we cannot see much evidence of a fire. This has been a crucial vantage point for council staff who've been ducking up here the whole time the fire has been raging, and there have been times when you can actually see flames on the hills behind me here. But the fact remains 11 houses have been lost, hundreds of people are still out of their homes, and the fires are still being fought. And remember, a crucial time is when the helicopters have to stop fighting them after it gets dark. Those monsoon buckets have been doing amazing work, and what we've seen over the previous 2 nights is that the fires have leapt back into further life once the helicopters have stopped. But there is a sense of possibility that they are in control of these blazes now. We are joined tonight by lots of people. First, Lianne Dalziel, the Mayor of Christchurch, and Sam Broughton, the Mayor of Selwyn District. Welcome. I'm going to drag you towards me. Thank you for having me in your building. Lianne Dalziel and Sam Broughton, there seems to be an inference from Jerry Brownlee that the buck stops with you two for the fires not having been fought more effectively earlier.
I don't accept that. What I do accept, though, is that for the calling of a civil defence emergency, yes, the buck does stop with me. I'm the Mayor of Christchurch. If we're calling a civil defence emergency, that sits with me. And if Selwyn's calling a civil defence emergency, that sits with Sam Broughton, the Mayor of Selwyn. But on this occasion, this was a rural fire. All of the powers that were required, all of the resources that were required, all of the logistics that needed to be brought to bear, the requisitioning, even the evacuations, all of the powers were able to be dealt with under the current legislation that was being applied to the fire.
And I think what people are confused about is that when you look out at this view, it looks like a Christchurch fire, but it started in Selwyn, right, Sam? And so it was at first a rural fire, and also now that it's within the boundaries of Christchurch City, much of the firefighting is still rural in the way it's being done. It's on steep hills, it's vegetation, it's that kind of thing. Do you think that Jerry Brownlee's inferences, innuendos and explicit criticisms are fair?
Well, both Lianne and I have met with Mr Brownlee today, and none of those criticisms were expressed to us.
Wait a sec, so the stuff he's been saying to the media he didn't say to your face?
Correct. So we had a meeting this morning where we went through the history of the fire, the way that the fire started, the way that it has been tackled, and the fact that nothing more could have been done, regardless of whether there was a declaration or not, that every possible resource was thrown at this from across our region in connection with our defence force, with the police involved, our rural fire, our volunteers and paid staff from both Christchurch and Selwyn have been involved in this right from the very beginning.
So the fire started in Selwyn and the wind spread it to Christchurch. That's a statement of fact, right?
There were two fires.
And they joined up. So, but I should make the point that even if the fire had started on the boundary, the first fire had started on the Christchurch City side of the boundary, it still would have been a rural fire because the boundary is along a rural ridgeline.
Can I just clarify what Sam said? Mayor Sam Broughton from Selwyn. Did Jerry Brownlee say any of the stuff to your face that he has been saying to the media over the past 24 hours?
I actually haven't heard what he said to the media, but we met with him this morning. He did not raise a concern that the emergency hadn't been dealt with appropriately. I learnt stuff this morning. I think he learnt stuff this morning.
What did you learn this morning?
I learnt the extent of the fire. This is a significant fire. You know, this is the fact that we have got internationally qualified experts living here in Canterbury is a huge advantage. We might have a regional incident management team, but they are the equivalent of a national incident management team, an international team, because they have such extensive experience. They told me today that this is a very, very significant fire, very complex fire. The way that it's being fought is world class. That's what they told me. I'm not the expert.
You've just been in a briefing? Have you just been having a briefing about the latest, or are you about to attend that? Forgive me.
There's just been another briefing to the Christchurch City Councillors, and that's covered off.
Were you asked to attend, Sam? Were you invited to attend as the Mayor of Selwyn?
Lianne and I have done a lot of things joint over the last couple of days. recognising that it is a joint effort. We've had services professionals from both sides of Christchurch City and Selwyn District involved here, and from a leadership point of view, we're tackling this together also.
So what's the latest? What can you tell us? Do you think, and I'm going to ask Douglas any moment, he's standing just across the other side of the room, so I'll beckon him over. What do you think the situation is now? Do you think the fires are under control?
Look, you can never say they're under control. So we're talking a couple of weeks with a lot of teams on the ground, making sure that they're keeping the flanks secure, that they're managing the fire as best they can. But no, we are not out of the woods by any means, and it would be important that people didn't get the message that we're in any way resolved. It looks a lot better today. You can see it from here that it does, but that doesn't mean that we are over. We've still got a long fight to tackle.
Lianne Dalziel, thank you very much. And Sam Broughton, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, you too.
One thing, we did actually want to come on here to say thank you. The extraordinary effort that we've seen, we've both had the privilege to go up from the air and actually see what they've done. People have absolutely gone to their nth degree to save property where they can. They have absolutely fought their hearts out. They're not giving up, and I feel so grateful, and I know Sam feels the same.
Yeah, to see homes that are completely surrounded in black but untouched themselves just points to the specific job that our forces have been able to do in saving homes. And so just thank you so much to those that have been involved on the ground and in the air. Lianne and I both really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam Broughton and Lianne Dalziel, the mayors of the neighbouring districts of Christchurch City and Selwyn. We really appreciate it. I might have to leave the shot. We're on radio, so I'll bring you back. Douglas, come in. I'm going to drag you over. Douglas Marshall, who has been a guest on Checkpoint over the phone the past couple of nights. Come and stand in here, Douglas, on the 6th floor of the civic offices. Douglas, it's lovely to meet you because I haven't. I've only spoken on the phone.
Yes, we have running the phone, but been a busy couple of days.
How are you going? How do you think the fire is going? Are you getting in control of it?
We're going really well today. The temperatures are cooler, the winds are not as strong. We've got 390 people on the ground, 160 of them New Zealand Fire Service personnel, volunteers and paid staff, and 200 rural, including the helicopter pilots, all their support, and all our admin support. So we've got a big resource base.
Yeah, and I've been out watching them work today, and it seems to me they're doing an amazing job. I'm not an expert, you are. Is there anything you would have done differently now, looking back?
Look, it's a valid question, and it must regularly be kept being asked. One of the challenges is this is hill country. Right? It's not flat country, it's hill country.
And I think people get confused about that because it's a city fire, but in fact all the fire areas we've been to are on hills and some of the very steep hills.
So you just don't drive up to the fire in your truck, get out, put your hose into a standpipe in the street and fight the fire. You have to take the water from A to B, whether it's a helicopter or it's a truck. You have to go and collect it from somewhere. If the fire goes off the side of the road and down the hill, you just don't follow it. You've got to go around and chase it. So it's really, really struggling, and therefore those who know Dyers Pass Road really well will perhaps understand when that came up there last night. I mean, there was little we could do. The steepness of the country, the wind, the heat.
The speed of the flames.
Speed of the flames. The bigger the flame, the hotter, the harder it is to stop it. Doesn't matter whether you've got a helicopter throwing water on. Some of those flames just won't be stopped, so often they're trying to steer the flames in the right direction. It's technically challenging work.
And what we've seen and what we saw last night is, one, the wind came up late afternoon, and that was really making life difficult because it gusts and it swirls around and it changes direction. And two, once it gets stuck, the monsoon buckets stop working, the helicopters stop working.
That's right.
Are you worried the fire will flare back up tonight, or do you think you have beaten it into some form of submission?
Well, I've been saying it's contained, and people in there have been challenging me, fair enough too. What happens though is that the fires change direction during each day, and each afternoon we've got a different condition. So today though, there's not been the flare-ups or the new activity, and therefore we'll watch very closely that Dyers Pass Road area in particular, and be watching around Westmoreland, around that area. Last night we had evacuations very carefully. We've worked really hard there today to make sure we try and contain as much as we can. Today's a good day. Tomorrow hopefully be a better day, because then we'll try and put containment lines in, create the dirt breaks from the fire, so that if the fire does get away again, it runs into something we've created wherever possible. So we're making really good progress today.
Good luck overnight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Douglas.
John.
Thank you very much indeed. Douglas, who is the boss of the Rural Fire Service that is fighting this fire.